All right, one, two, three. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another Sunday session. Um, we're gonna go recap for the trades. I know for the past few weeks I wasn't really super active on the recap due to some condition work that I have. So hopefully, for this recap, I can kind of go over what I'm actually what I have done and give you guys a little bit of tips and how to look at the market overall, and how do you can put it in place and find your strategy, and hopefully make a great trade out of it. So without further ado, I'm just gonna go as I always I mentioned. Sometimes I come in and give you guys I don't know, sort of a gift. You can you can see it that way, or some sort of ideas that if you're interested to read a book, introduce you guys some books that I am currently reading it, or I have been reading it for the past, I don't know, recent, or in my trading career. For today and this week, I'm going to introduce you guys this book, What I Learned Losing $1 Million, by Jim Paul. It's a great book. Definitely highly suggest that if you guys want to really kind of like go over the idea of how to manage your risk, as well as how to being able to manage your emotion and learning from your mistakes and losses, because that's very important concept. A lot of people are having these wrong ideas of how to make money. Um, the correct version of that is just how to not lose money specifically for stock trading. But you can use that idea towards anything, towards any business that you might have. But it's a mindset. So this book is very good. I loved it. I'm still reading it. Not finishing it yet, but I wanted to share with you guys this. It's a great book. Definitely check it out. I'm gonna leave the link in our channel, so you can have it, and hopefully enjoy it. Anyway, let's get us started with our recap for the past this week, and I had few trades. Honestly, it's been very slow in terms of what are the players are, and kind of adaptability and market shift. It really affects the small caps area, but there's no complaint. There's no problems. We always find something to trade and something to make your money out of it. But remember, it's July. It's summer time. July uh, has been very slow overall in the stock market. Month of July is always the slowest month of the year. So keep that in mind. Do not expect too much, and I don't personally expect too much. That's why I take it really easy for the summer. I don't want to really be super active around with it. Try to focus on other stuff. But as always, for me, it's a full time job, so I don't really care. I know my strategy. I know my edge. So every morning, I know where should I look at. But for you, if you're a beginner, definitely this is the great time to learn. Definitely this is the best time to understand the market and study the market. Uh, it's one important thing that you need to have, learning the market every single day, finding your edge, finding your type of trades, finding your strategy and all that. So yeah, and I also going to give you guys a tip that how you can scan basically the previous runners for the last week, and how I look at it. This is a very golden tips that you might be interested. So I personally have my scanner set up, and I always tell you guys, if you want to kind of like learn how to scan them deeply and making sure that those trades are those stocks are um, valuable to trade, um, yeah, you can reach out to me. But I'm gonna share you guys a glimpse of how I sometimes look at it with a free source. You don't have to necessarily have a really huge platform. So I have here Finviz. Well, finviz.com is a great source for all the people that really wanted to kind of line up and understand most of the scanners and how to look at look over the stocks. I mean, Finviz has always been with me since the day one I start trading. It's a great website. It's a great sentiment website platform that you can basically find anything in it for all the companies, from float to the volume to the market cap to everything else. So this setup that I have here on Finviz that I'm using, it's very simple. It's not that really rocket science. Usually, I go over how the performance was for the last week, so you can bring up, um, all these small caps that have been traded for the last week, and you can actually play around with it and have your own type of I guess setup on your scanner. So just wanted to kind of like show you guys what you should look at, like, in terms of if you want to scan something for your Sunday, yeah, put them in the watch list for the next few days, and just look at them overall. Finviz is a great source, free source. You don't have to really pay for this. You can basically go ahead and put up whatever that you're looking for. You can change the pricing and what price range that you're looking for, and relative volume is very important. This is what I'm looking for in general for small cap, but that's also up to you. You can change it, and if you want to go over 3 and see all the difference and what can pull up. But mainly, I'm looking for the floats, which I'm basically focusing on. But as we are seeing in the past few months, we had so much of high float trade stocks that are running. High float and mid float. Low floats were kind of comes around pump and dump easily. You know them. You know how to deal with them if you are if you have been trading small caps for such a long time. So, but for me, it's always more interested. I'm always more interested to focus on low float. But if you want to be safer, if you like the longer time that you wait for during the day to trade, that if that's your strategy, you should always look at the higher float or mid floats, because those are slowly move up or down. That doesn't matter. But like low floats are faster, more riskier, more profitable, and it's the general thing. So floats is the number of shares that the company offer, basically. So just the idea of what exactly the float. But what I'm looking for is around, like, 10 million, 5 million. Sometimes I look for 100 million. So you can see sometimes these days. I was surprised actually. A few stocks that came in the morning. There were high floats, but there wasn't too much liquidity, so they run quicker on the spread. So what that means is when a massive order comes in one float, so you can see that range is just yapping up hugely, and you can just take that as an opportunity and making sure, or either side, if it's going down, take a short. And that's kind of like a way that I have been seeing for the high float stock or mid float. Generally, they move slowly, so you have to keep that in mind. They're not fast as low floater. So anyway, just to show you guys this and how to kind of like scan this stocks that has been running. Let's get back to our plays for the last week. We had a few trades. Um, and I'm gonna just kind of like go over, a few of them. I want to keep this short as always. I don't want to really talk too much, but it's always good to learn. It's always good to share the thoughts, share the experience. I hope that this will help you guys to kind of like open up towards whatever that you are interested in the market, because financial market is always going to be there. They're not gonna disappear. There's always there is the biggest thing that you can contribute to it, and you can look at as a work, as a job. But you have to build that discipline. You have to build that mindset. Otherwise, you're just lost and you cannot find your edge. That's why I always suggest to the people, beginners, study as much as you can. Study the market, different markets as well. Learn how to achieve different type of strategy. You don't have to necessarily looking at your chart, learning a chart. I mean, chart is the basic. You have to learn them, and you have to be good at it. You have to read the charts, read the chart differently. But there's more to it. There's not just simple pattern that you can follow forever. No, that's not gonna happen. You have to adapt yourself. Market is all about adaptability. That's what I always mention in all the pretty much the videos in the group channel. We talk. So anyway, I'm just gonna go over this week pretty slow. I was expecting to more than what I kind of like anticipated. I think the number one, it was like TBLT, I believe, and then Acon that I have it pull up here. TBLT, one of those like tricky, scammy companies. Remember, all these stocks that we trading, I always mention, I always want to add it to this video. All these companies they don't have a proper information. They don't have a proper filings. So they're very vague in terms of long-term investment. So you want to keep that in mind and don't really fall for it, because I know people that are looking at these small caps and they put their hard-earned money into it for a long-term investment. I mean, it's one way to look at it, obviously, but you don't want to trust them. I personally don't really trust them, even though I trade mainly long trade on them, because I want to make I look at it that way, because I want to see them run for the day or two, and then just be taking advantage of them. So remember, always you have to treat them as a as always, my mentor also mentioned that, teach me that you have to teach them as a strict you have to treat them as a Tinder, like Tinder date. So you go there one day and the next day it's just gone. It doesn't exist. So you have to keep that in mind. That mindset builds you a good discipline, and you can kind of like believe what's good and what's bad. But for all these small caps, there's no good news behind them, unless there's a temporary good news and that can run it. But there's always a manipulation behind the scene. So yeah, it's good to have that mindset behind it, because there's a lot of sketchy things going on with all these companies. So anyway, TBLT, small runner on Monday. We had this run, and then we had this very very quick gap on the play. I was looking actually more for this to run, but sadly they couldn't prove. As always, as I mentioned, it's summer. You don't wanna stock to a play. You don't wanna buy a massive position on all these moves. You have to know your sizing. If you don't know how to size on these plays, you're in danger. Reach out to me. I'll be happy to help you out with all the trading tips and tricks that you have to know and learn, and making sure that you're fine with the trade. So hopefully that would help you out. Yeah, TBLT wasn't really a massive pumper. I was expecting really more than what he has, but as you can see, too much weeks, too much short attack, and it was a great short setup. And I think it was a Monday that we traded, and you know, sadly couldn't improve it. And then a few days after, we see this massive exhaust that at $4 natural resistant, and then massive exhaust, and here we see this huge gap down, and then once again another this is more like a cover pop. Few deep buyers try to drive the price up, exit their position already here, and then drop down, try it again, still on that pattern of the as I have breakout pattern. So it needs to reach to that level, and then we can kind of like making sure that where the orders are coming. But as you can see, the volumes are very saturated. You don't want to really kind of believe in this type of thing. But we might see this running during the week. There's always like a pump. I'm not sure what was the news behind it, but I think it had PR, some sort of PR, but not sure. Yeah, next one. I just want to kind of be quick on all these, but next one was we had Acon. I think that's how you should pronounce it. Acon, no, Acon or something. I don't know. AKAN. Yeah. So this one was a really good play, actually, for this week. We had a massive run in the pre-market. As you guys know, I in my time zone, I wake up at 4 a.m. I mean, I'm sitting behind my desk at 4 a.m. So it's kind of early for me. But for you guys, I'm probably gonna be like 7 or 8. But I leave the watch list at around like 8:30 or something Eastern time. So just kind of like give you guys a warm up. But sometimes during that pre-market, if you're early, remember I always mention in the channel, early birds get the worms. You have to kind of like be early behind them, and it's much potential if you trade them in the pre-market, early pre-market, beginning of the pre-market, so you can kind of like make sure that they will run because the pumpers are already going to do it at that time, and then just fade out, and then they're going to come back before the market open, another pump, and then the market open. You kind of need to adjust, making sure if this is going to run or not. If there's big volume behind it, it's going to go for more. If it was just a simple pump and exit position, that. So you can kind of like take advantage of those areas. So I don't really dive deep into it because it would be very technical. So just a heads up that it would be better if you were early on them. If any time zone that you're living, I know California is kind of hard. Early, you have to be super early on all these. So it is what it is. But if you're in the East Coast or South, it should be fine to wake up a little bit earlier to catch all these. But as always, like, it's better to making sure what time is good for you, because timing is very important in day trading. Sometimes it just doesn't work that way. So Akon, it was a good play. We had this 13% runner for us in the pre-market. I think it was on Tuesday. Yes, it was on Tuesday. Let me see. Yeah, this Tuesday. Sorry, this Tuesday we had a massive run in pre-market. Boom, bam. That's it. We take it. We take bailed on all these trash, and that's what I wanted for you guys. I wanted you guys kind of like be into that mindset. Don't really have a loving relationship with all these scams. Yeah, Econ was a good one. I think that was the biggest play that we had this week. Pretty slow as always. I don't really force trading. I hate force trading. I always mention, do not force trade. If you don't see something that doesn't make sense, it doesn't meet your criteria, you don't have to stick to it and do it. You don't have to trade just to trade. Focus on somewhere else. And as we move forward on Thursday, on the Wednesday, we came up with the CPI news, and that was kind of like make things super hard to really take a risk, because I personally wanted to um reach to the point that I that this stuff that can run. I think it was we had XRTX, couldn't play because it didn't hit our play, and it was OLB as well. Mm, we couldn't play those, and I personally was like, this is not a day to force, and I don't want to really wait for all these $1 stock to just run back up, and I don't do that. I don't sit down for 6 hours behind my desk to just look at them until like afternoon. That's toxic. You should not do that early. It's better. You should be done because that's the biggest move in the early afternoon. It's not the time to trade. It's not a time to force trade, at least for small caps, unless if you see something in a bigger cap. Yeah, and after that, the next day I wasn't really focusing on the trade, so I kind of wanted to get out of the trade. Didn't really trade that day, and then I think it was Thursday, and then we had Friday, EVTL actually. Surprisingly, as always, I mentioned I don't want to be too early and too late. AVTL we hit higher than we expected, and for me it was okay because I took small profit. I wasn't angry about the run after that, but this is the thing: you have to build that mindset and discipline to not worry about the FOMO or the grit that just kicks in. You kind of become a person, an expert to ignore all that. So yeah, EVTO was a great runner, and I think this will definitely tomorrow morning will be on the high watch for me. So I'm going to take advantage of the pre-market tomorrow, and just because this deep buyer is probably gonna jump back in, and then um, just just price it up. As you can see in the 15 minutes, actually, the stock didn't even stop stopping, dropping. It has this huge gap up and hold on to this area. So usually when you see this, it's already cracked to the bottom. So you can see that pattern just shape, and this head and shoulder is just done kind of, and you can see that this one is ready to move down more. But you never know. In the morning, in the early morning, usually um, deep buyer is probably gonna move this price, and there's this resistance 637 that I had already. So I think there's a possibility to do six above dollar or so in the pre-market, but I don't rely on this too much. I don't think this can really have too much gap. But as I know, I think the news was really good. The news was something related to let's see. Uh, yeah, it was something related to flying car startup, something related with with American Airlines. Yeah, so they have some sort of deals, I believe. The news was very decent, so you can kind of like believe that. But it was unfortunate that in the early morning they couldn't really prove. They just go back and forth, hit that pattern for and then squeeze up. So by that time I was out of trading. I didn't really trade, and then I mentioned you guys, if you guys are you know average down or like hold for a longer time. I mean, it was a good area. I mean, that area wasn't really dangerous. It wasn't gonna go anywhere. Didn't even into the area that I wanted to kind of stop out, but it was risky because it was Friday. I don't want to stay behind my desk on Friday, especially. But sometimes you not expecting unexpected things happen. Exactly like what happened with EVTL. So this thing is just ran up crazy after that. So yeah, I think that's it. I'm just gonna keep this short and just give you guys a heads up. Remember, never force a trade if you are not seeing anything in there. And tips of the day was how to really manage your risk and how to really manage your sizing. Your sizing is really important, especially when it comes down to small caps, because you see a stock that is $1 and you want to kind of spend more money in it, but in reality you don't know your edge. You're losing too much on it, and there's no way back. So you have to be careful with your sizing. Do not fall for the price. There's more than that. It's just not. It's not the way that it should work. So remember that always. Yeah, I think that's about it, guys. I'm gonna wrap it up here for the Sunday session. Hopefully, you guys like it. Please feel free to go to the Roll React, follow me in there, and then follow my channel. And if you guys have any question, just DM me directly to the Discord channel. And yeah, hopefully, um, we're gonna have more moves soon on small caps by next month and following fall. Anyway, hope you guys have a great day. See you guys tomorrow next week that we're going to start. Take care.